Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be back with this new video, and in this video I'm going to share with you a couple of messages that I received for autumn. And I think autumn is going to be an energy-packed period. A lot of things are going to be happening all around the globe collectively. It's going to be pretty dense. And the first thing I wanted to mention is that we are currently in this very crucial transition for humanity, which is the transition into the fourth dimension. So we went from the third dimension, which is the dimension of matter, and the consciousness of matter, where we are only aware of matter, into the 4D, fourth dimension, which is the fourth dimension consciousness is really related to awakening. So awakening from the dream, awakening from the matrix that we have been in. So 3D is really associated with the matrix. And also simply, becoming aware that we are no longer these beings only made of flesh. We no longer identify only to our physical bodies, but we are also now aware that we are actually beyond physical body. We are spirit in nature. So the fourth dimension is also, I would say, the dimension that is related to whistleblowers, to, revelations, disclosure, putting out all these lies, all this fake history of humanity as well, and all this kind of manipulation that we've experienced while we were in the third dimension. So that's really what the fourth dimension is. So it's awakening from that, awakening from the lies, and also it relates to the astral plane. That's when we start entering the astral plane, which is also the dimension of time. The fourth dimension is also associated with the dimension of time. So, of course, this is not the end, because Gaia actually chose to ascend into the fifth dimension. It is only a transition that we are going through right now. Collectively, we are in 4D. So, as I said, it is related to the astral realm. And I've seen a lot of times people who kind of judge very negatively the astral realm, saying that it is very negative, that it's actually dangerous, and that we should really avoid completely the astral realm. But I think these people do not know and do not understand exactly what the astral is actually, because the astral is very different things. There is, of course, a very negative aspect in the astral, but also very positive ones. And it's like saying, for example, in the sea, there are predators, there are sharks, so no one has to go in the sea, don't go in the sea, it's negative, it's dangerous. But actually in the sea, you can also find higher dimensional beings, wonderful, beautiful beings such as dolphins, whales, etc. So why judge negatively the sea? Even though there are sharks and predators, there are also very high dimensional beings and very positive things. And overall, going into water is also something very beneficial. So it's pretty much the same with the astral realm. So in the astral realm, there are the lower aspects, the lower astral planes, where we do find all these negative entities, demonic entities, also kind of wandering souls that are lost or they have karma to purge. Then we have just above that lower astral plane, so like let's say the inferior astral plane, we have also entities such as reptilian entities. So these of course are more like the negative sides of the astral, and we do not want to be connected to that. That's also from these dimensions that we receive, psychic attacks. Usually they come from that place, from the lower astral and the inferior astral plane. But there's also all the rest, and we are actually from the astral plane. Before we are born into a physical body, we come from the astral plane, and when we die, we return to the astral plane. Every night when we go to sleep, we go back to the astral plane, even though we're not aware of it. So we are astral in nature as well. We have an astral body. So as you can see, it's not something that is negative, of course. And what we can perceive right now is that because with this ascension, there is less and less kind of separation, or the way that we perceive the separation between the astral realm and the physical realm. It's like the, you know, like the layers are getting thinner and thinner. So we are able to perceive more and more what is happening in the astral. That is why we will be probably, you know, witnessing the good and the bad, so negative entities, but also all the positive things that exist in the astral realms. And so it's really important in these times really to stay grounded as well, because groundedness, as we will see later on in this video, is going to help us really, you know, stand firmly into our own energetic sovereignty, I have to say, regarding also what can happen in the astral. So because the boundaries between the astral and the physical is becoming thinner and thinner as we ascend, the more we are elevating ourselves, the more Earth is receiving higher frequencies, the more we are able also to witness that it's getting much more easy and I would say quicker as well, to manifest things into matter. Because all things exist primarily in the ether, in the astral realm. All that exists on Earth exists first in the ether, in the astral realm. That means that potentially we can really kind of bring down anything, any potential that exists in the ether down to Earth. And that's something that capacity is going to be really accelerating in the coming months and years. It's something that we will be manifesting more quickly, manifesting with more like, you know, a kind of sharp intention, and it's going to bring a lot of magic into our reality. We have to say that, because when we become aware that we are these magicians and we kind of learn again, and I say again because it's not something that we never learned. We actually knew how to do that before, but we were told that it does not work that way. We are going to learn again how to do that process. So bringing back heaven to earth. That's exactly what we're going to be doing by co-creating together. So whether it's projects where we would like to manifest qualities, capacities, meeting people or whatever. I mean, it's infinite. The possibilities are infinite when it comes to that. That's going to be much more easy for us, and we might get also some surprises. And I've definitely seen that in my life. So when I look back, kind of my past. A lot of things that I was perceiving in the ether for me actually manifested. It really happened. It really came down. And I know that is going to be the case for a lot of us, and that we are going to really go in that direction. And when we reach really the fifth dimension, then it's like normal, You think of something, and if it's aligned with the divine, you manifest it. That's how it works. And because we are more and more intuitive as well, we will be able to feel when it is really in alignment with who we are in that moment, for it to manifest in that moment. So that is also, I think, kind of a wisdom also that we are acquiring. A message I received was, "You will know them by their fruits." So this is a quote, and what I understood from that message is that we are in this period of harvest, and really what we need to put our attention on is on sorting what is good and what is bad. That is why I saw these rotten apples, and I think that's really also the message. So this quote actually comes from the Bible, from Matthew, and I researched the entire quote that I will read to you right now. "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them." I forgot that this quote came from a passage where he was talking about false prophets. So this is really interesting. And of course, it can relate to what we call false prophets in the spiritual field. And God knows they do exist. But I think it also relates to the power of darkness in general. because they always operate through lies, manipulation, deception. And the message is really, look at what they are harvesting right now. Are they harvesting good fruit, edible fruits, or rotten fruits? And I can see like a basket full of rotten fruits on one side and a basket full of really beautiful fruits that we'd like to eat on the other. And it's really like knowing what is what. So sorting things. And this is really, we are in this period, we are harvesting in the northern hemisphere at least grapes and figs, so that's really interesting as well. And we will all be really confronted to this kind of discernment that is asked from us. And God knows that in the next weeks and months, we will see all that coming out. We will see all this information coming out, all this disclosure, revelations, etc. just coming out, and we will need to be very discerning. There was also an emphasis on grounding. And as I was receiving that, I was feeling and seeing that there was like almost a thread tied to my sacrum. And there was a kind of steel ball on the other end. And I was feeling like almost like my sacrum was really pulled towards the ground, towards the inner earth, I would say. And at the same time, I was feeling that my spine was straightening and really like the head was straight as well, and really feeling like almost a thread was also like supporting me and connecting me to the celestial realms. And the information that I got is that the more we are grounded, the more that our spine is erect, the more we are going to be able to receive the higher frequencies that are coming in. Because if we have a posture like this, and if you do, then just become aware that you really need to kind of stay straight, like sit straight and stand straight. And that's really going to help our bodies to receive these new energies, and also because the energy actually comes up the spine. So if we have a spine that is like this, the energy cannot go up, it cannot elevate itself. So being straight and feeling really this groundedness, because the more that we are grounded, the less we are going to be affected also by the collective energies, but also all the negative astral energies that I was talking about earlier. The more we are grounded, the more our spine is straight, the more we are really fully into our strength and spiritual capacity. That's really the word that's coming up, spiritual capacity. And then I heard the words, the feet of bronze. So there was, this idea, okay, the feet of bronze, that's for grounding, but my inner guidance told me, try to do some research on that, because it kind of rang a bell, but I couldn't remember exactly what it referred to. And actually, I discovered that it is a passage in the book of Revelation, St. John's book of Revelation. And I'm going to read also a passage from that. I turned around to see the voice that was speaking to me. And when I turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands. And among the lampstands was someone like a son of man, dressed in a robe reaching down to his feet, and with a golden sash around his chest. His head and hair were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of rushing waters. In his right hand he held 7 stars, and out of his mouth came a sharp double-edged sword. His face was like the sun shining in all its brilliance. When I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. Then he placed his right hand on me and said, "Do not be afraid, I am the first and the last. I am the living one. I was dead, and behold, I am alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys of death and Hades. Write, therefore, what you have seen, what is now and what will take place later. The mystery of the 7 stars that you saw in my right hand and of the 7 golden lampstands is this. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches." So this is basically Jesus revealing himself in front of John, and he presents himself as the Son of Man, which means that he presents himself, as the Son of Man, so as a man, but also as the Son of God. and the Son of God means the incarnation of Christ consciousness on earth. So this is really interesting because this also relates back to last month's message. You remember maybe Richard the Lionheart transmitted this message. He was talking about the light of Christ being revealed. So this is exactly the same, the light of Christ being revealed, Jesus Christ revealing himself to St. John. Another interesting thing is that I had a dream last week where I was with a friend of mine and I was channeling some information relating to the notion of life and the notion of death. And for life, I saw like a tree, a beautiful tree. So it was also related to knowledge because I was also giving a lecture about universal knowledge. So it's the tree of knowledge and the tree of life at the same time. And representing death, it was a sword. So interesting to see that Jesus reveals himself to John with a sword coming out of his mouth. And this, for me, actually the way I interpreted the sword representing death is also a way of kind of cutting with the illusion of matter, cutting with the illusion of death. And again, Jesus says to John, I come back from the dead. Basically, I have known death. I know what death is. So it's always interesting that everything is interconnected and everything makes sense when you put it all together in this way. This really talks about the return of Christ, the return of Christ consciousness, and why do we have so many biblical references right now? Certainly in this video there are a couple. Because first of all, we are in these times of apocalypse. It is happening right now. This is why we are invited to read those texts again, especially the book of Revelation from St. John, because I think St. John was probably one of the closest to truth, one of the disciples that were the closest to truth. Also because it is all part of our Judeo-Christian heritage, and it is really important to understand where we come from, but also to go back to its true origins, its true pure origins. Because we all know that the Bible does not contain only the truth. There are things that are the truth, but there are also things that have been completely manipulated in a way to enslave and condition humanity for millennia. So that's really something that we need to address right now. And also the invitation is to go back to the pure origin of Christianity and the truth that lies there, but to be really mindful not to return to dogma. So it's not like we have a return of religion through dogma. It's more about the spiritual truth that is inherent in this knowledge. And I want to say also that all big religions have been infiltrated, so that is the case really worldwide. And this is why we are asked really to go back to the pure origins of Christianity and the truth that lies there. And this truth is actually also common to other spiritualities, other religions, and that's the beauty in that. So, for example, even in the Old Testament, Moses in the desert, when he erects that snake, it's the snake made of bronze. And I will also read that quote from John, telling us that. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life. What does that mean? The serpent relates to the Kundalini awakening. So this means that when the serpent rises, then man becomes enlightened, then he is in the pure Christ consciousness state, which is the future for every human being on this planet regarding their evolution. That's what we are called to embody, Christ consciousness. And St. John sees Jesus with 7 stars in his hand. The 7 stars relate to the 7 chakras that we find in Hinduism, for example. And all these energy centers that are awakening and opening up with the Kundalini rising. So we really can see that it all leads to the truth. It all leads to spiritual truth, whatever religion we are talking about. And that's the beauty in it all, you know. That's what's really interesting on this planet, is that all religions carry some truth, and all religions also carry some lies, because, as I said, they are infiltrated. But we really need to see now, and especially now, when we see globally that there are still wars because of religions. Some religions are still persecuted. We really need to come together and see that they all relate to the one and same knowledge and spiritual truth. And that's an amazing, you know, discovery when we see that. And we see that everything is interconnected and everything is linked in the end, because we are all one. So I hope that all the information in this video was useful, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Sat Nam, take care.